And away we go. It is the nightcap, brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com, www.galacticfriedchicken.com. Go to the website, get the app, go to the app. They will deliver right to your front door pretty much anywhere inside the 275 loop, or head down to Dayton, Kentucky. Tell them to pump it up. Save yourself 15% off of the Galactic goodness. It is out of this world. All right. I know we've already been live once tonight, but I felt like, you guys probably were ready for some more conversation. So let's do this. We're not going to go long. This isn't going to be like an hour and a half. Let's aim for like 30, 40 minutes and we'll get it all out. Hi, Aaron.
Hi.
How was George in the Jungle? I know I checked in at the end, but how was the old man? How did he take things?
He takes it in stride. He's done this for a while. He's not new to this.
I was listening on the way home, and I agree with a lot of what George had to say. Let me just first say, let me start it with this. It was so incredible to see the shoe. It's not Fifth Third Arena anymore. It was Fifth Third Arena while we were in the American Conference. It is back to the Shoemaker Center. That was so much fun tonight. I know they lost. I know they were a couple missed plays. They were a couple missed opportunities. They were bad at layups. They were bad from the free throw line. And they still went toe-to-toe with Texas, a Texas team that played better than – it was probably one of the best games that Texas has played all season. Texas answered some of the questions I had about them in terms of what they would do late in a tight game, because they had not answered those questions yet this season. I thought Cincinnati defensively had a game plan. They stuck to that game plan. That game plan was mostly effective. It did create a situation where it allowed one guy for Texas to go off, and Dylan Disu. But the goal going in, I think, and maybe I'll be proven wrong talking to, my sources or whatever, but it was to do everything you could to limit Hunter and Asmus. And for those that are wondering, yes, his last name is pronounced Asmus, Abmas, Asmus. It is German. He is from Germany. That is the correct pronunciation. I saw somebody complaining that the broadcast crew got that wrong, but they got it right. It's Asmus. They wanted to frustrate those two guys and make getting shots difficult for them. And they did that. Unfortunately, a lot of it resulted in Dylan Disu getting either good looks from three or good looks at the rim. He had a career high 33 points, 13 of 23 from the floor. He was 4 of 10 from three, 6 rebounds. He was the best player on the floor. I don't think there's any disputing that. He was the best player on the floor tonight.
When are we going to stop doing that? Giving up career highs to a player on the other team. That's 2 games in a row now.
And it's happened.
We also did it in out of conference play as well.
It happened at Howard. It happened against Xavier. It happened against Dayton. It is a problem.
I understand the mentality of wanting to limit their regular top scorer, but it should not come at a career high best shooting night of their entire life for the Robin on the team.
And that's fair. Now, the thing with Disu that makes it tough is he has not been full. He has been coming back from injury. So when you're doing a scout, he has not looked like he is this talented. Obviously, we saw that tonight. But he had not yet looked like this guy when you're putting a scouting report together. Plus, they didn't really know going into the game that Keldon Shedrick was going to be out. that he wasn't going to play at all, which
Right.
ironically enough would have taken a bunch of Disu's minutes if they had Keldon Shedrick available. But because they didn't, they had their offensive center that they had to put a lot of the load on instead of the guy that's there for rim protection and defense and rebounding. So that worked in Texas's favor. And I'm with you. You have to figure out a way. And I thought they did as the game went along more. I thought Jamil did a really good, did the best job of anybody guarding him. But you know what's hard, Aaron? When a guy gets in a groove and he's tracking for a 30 burger, even if you switch it up, like he's in a groove at that point.
Correct.
So, you know, they're playing drop coverage.
Unless your coach just takes him out for, 7 of the last 10 minutes for reasons that you will never be able to explain. His own way.
Yeah. So they were playing drop coverage on, and Disu talked about it, right out of the gate, that they thought Cincinnati would play drop coverage. That was going to let them pick and pop with him and put him in some advantageous offensive situations, especially against Vic and Aziz. Not as much against Jamil, but, you're working through the game to figure that out. And by the time they figured out that Jamil was the answer to slowing him down at least a little bit, he was already, what was he in the first half? He was 8 of 14, hit 2 threes, and had 19 points at halftime. 17 minutes, 19 points. Like, he was killing you at that point in time. So I agree. Like, you've got to find out a way to not let just doing this off of memory. It was in overtime, but Seth Towns was upper 20s.
With Howard, yeah.
Quincy Oliveri was 27. The Deron Holmes was just under 30. The Nell from the BYU was at 27. Disu gets 33. You have got to figure a way to turn off that spigot for sure. Like, okay, he's got 19 in the first half. Can we hold him to 7 in the second half so he has 26? Because if he has 26, guess what? UC wins the game fairly comfortably because Texas didn't have a lot of other options that were playing, at the top of their game. So yeah, I agree completely. Like, there are too many guys. I don't know how you could not agree. Like, I'm an idiot if I argue that they're letting too many guys get career highs, and not like, okay, his career high was 17 and he got 21. No. His career high was 29 and he still got a new career high. Like,
yeah,
that's not going to work in this league.
When you're letting somebody score basically 25 plus, and that's when they're scoring these career highs is 25, 30. Tonight we saw 33. That's, I don't know, just yeah, that's not what you want to see.
Eric, I think you took that wrong. Why would Wes say after the game that the missed free throws were not why they lost the game? I thought that was an odd comment.
Oh, you muted yourself.
He's protecting his guy. Like, John Newman had an incredible game defensively. He didn't have it offensively tonight, but he had an incredible game defensively. And he goes up there with a lead and one, and he misses the front end, and that essentially changed the dynamic of the game because then Texas is able to take the last shot. Like, they're able to control the last possession. If he makes those, even if he makes one, the first one, because it's bonus, you're up 2, and it changes. Tougher shot. Yeah, it changes the dynamic of things. So he's just trying to, like, John Newman there's no guy that's more of a Wes Miller guy than John Newman. He's just trying to say there's other things we did or could have done. They were 4 of 19 on layups. They were 8 of 15 from the free throw line. They turned it over
4 of 17.
4 of 17 from at layups.
Right.
They turned it over too much. Like there was what his point is, Eric, is there's a lot that happened in this game that wasn't. It didn't come down to simply John Newman missing the front end of a one-on-one. Now, why does he have to do that? Because in a 1-point game, John Newman missed the front of a one-on-one. It happened. It's up to his coach to defend his guys, but ultimately that's a critical look. You're not in the American anymore. You're in the Big 12. Games against high-level teams in this league are going to be decided in the final minute. And if
we continue to play at the level we're playing.
Yes. But point being, if you're playing with the lead in the final minute of a close game, you've got to be able to go to the line and knock down free throws. And that didn't happen tonight, and it changed the game pressure of the game. It allowed Texas to be in a situation where if they make a shot, they're in the lead and in a position to win the game. So I understand your reaction to that. But I also understand, like, a coach is gonna have his guys' backs and take the heat off of John by saying we didn't do enough things at a high level to put us in a position to be up 4 or 5 in the final minute, 6, 7, make some layups. You might be up 12 in the final minute. And they didn't do that well enough. That's what Wes is getting at. It's not, people will sometimes read into something that a coach is saying emotionally because they just lost a 1-point game that it felt like they had a very good. I won't go as far as George, where he said it felt like UC should have won. I thought it was, Aaron, exactly what you want when UC joined the Big 12. You got Texas at home. Both teams played really well. It was an outstanding game that was decided in the final minute. Right? Like that's what we wanted. We wanted in the Big 12. This entire fan base wanted this. This is what's going to happen.
That doesn't mean they were ready for the losses.
Right. But what I'm saying is, what it amplifies is the little tiny things are going to be the difference. Look, an official missed a blatant travel.
He did.
A blatant travel. Your
right
defense,
in front of him. Right in front. The ref was in the replay 3 feet away from the travel. That
your defense got you the stop you needed, up 1 with 20 seconds left, and the officials didn't call it.
What can you do?
You can make the plays.
Make the free throw. Yeah.
Make the free throws. Then you're up 3. And now, Texas makes that 2, or if they have to shoot a 3, maybe they miss. And you're in a position to win the game. And they didn't execute in some of the things that determine the outcome of a game well enough. But what I will say, Aaron, is we walked into the start of Big 12 play, because remember, we had that big-ass gap from the end of the Evansville game to the start of the BYU game.
Yep.
We did a bunch of shows. And what did we talk? I told Dave I might kiss him in the mouth if they go 2-6.
Well, I think you're off the hook.
Somebody rewatched the tape. I didn't say I would kiss him in the mouth. I said I might kiss him in the mouth if they go 2-6. Why? Because it didn't look like they were playing at a level necessary to win in this league prior to the BYU game. They'd had, 3 weeks from the Xavier game to the end of non-conference play where it didn't feel like they were clicking. We've now seen 2 games. I feel a lot better about that. Do you?
Yeah, the team looks like they know what they're doing largely. There's things that I'm nitpicky about that
sure
they certainly need to be doing better, both individually and as a team. That said, that's the fan in us, right? At the end of the day, we're going to be critical on guys that we either aren't as high on, or defending guys that we're bullish on. I know I joke a lot about how I'm huge on Jizzle James. I am. I'm not just. That's not just a joke. But at the end of the day, I don't know. We're going to pick things apart because we are fans and we are crazy, and
it's also our job. We have to. That's just what we do.
That's a different part of it, but yeah.
These shows would be pretty boring
Twitter,
if we weren't discussing it.
Yeah, but Twitter's losing their mind for whatever reason. Pick a day. There's a different reason every day, and that's fine. The boards are losing their mind for an entirely different reason, maybe the same reason. Who knows? But yeah, it's what we do. We're all crazy. We want the teams to win. And even when they're winning, there's still things we think they need to be doing better. I'm guilty of it. We're all guilty of it. It's fine.
Sure.
But at the end of the day,
these shows would be pretty boring, Aaron, if we didn't do that.
I don't remember the last time I watched a regular season game that I was yelling at the TV the way that I was tonight. And I was really glad it was not a late tip for that reason.
All right, let's just go ahead and have the conversation. It feels like we have to have it almost every game now.
I didn't want to bring it up.
Here, I'll talk about it. I think it's a very simple conversation at this point. At what point does Jizzle eventually pass Day-Day? When he is able to defend at a higher level consistently. There are flashes of it. It is getting there. He is getting better. He is improving. But there were points in the first half and a little bit in the second half where the job of the point guard tonight was slowing down Max Abmas. He is the alpha in Texas offense. And Day-Day did a fantastic job of limiting him tonight and frustrating him and making things difficult for him. Jizzle did a good job, but he got beat on a backdoor. He got beat on a three that he got caught up. I think he got caught up on a screen and didn't get to Abmas in time. There was a play late in the game where he reached where there didn't need to be a foul. You had Abmas isolated on the baseline with no help and nobody in position for him to there was no outlet for him. And Jizzle reached in and fouled, reset the possession. So until he becomes more steady, more consistent in the everyday requirements of playing defense because you are facing a Big 12 point guard for the next 16 games. Even when you play West Virginia, you're facing Kirk Carissa, who is a little bit up and down.
He was the dog at Arizona, though.
Right. So coaches are always going to default to the better defender in a situation like they had today. Now, we did see what did I talk about against BYU, Aaron? That if that game was closer, we would have seen Jizzle more in the final 3-4 minutes because of his offense. The game was closer tonight, and we saw him more in the final 3 minutes because, you're starting to see maybe an opportunity for some offense defense. Somebody did ask, I think, why not call a timeout with 6 seconds left and get Jizzle in? I don't think there's enough time for that to matter, one. And two, if you call a timeout in that situation, the other team gets to go to the sidelines and come out in a set defense. What happened? They inbounded it to Day-Day. Day-Day pushed it up the floor, got it to Seamas. Seamas with a pump fake, dribbled right, and got a clean look from three. Really, is there anything else you thought that was going to happen better in that possession if you let Texas set their defense?
I just want to counter that. I think that Jizzle's already past Day-Day. Just when he's on the floor, I think the offense moves better. I understand what you're saying. No, I'm saying I understand what you're saying defensively. But the question is, at what point does Jizzle eventually pass Day-Day? I believe he has already. I'm more comfortable with this team with Jizzle James on the floor than I am with Day-Day at this point.
But it becomes a question, Aaron.
I understand. I let you speak. No. I'm just giving my piece here. And I think that 25 minutes though to 15 is I still think just not where this needs to be. I still think it's heavily favored in Day-Day's favor, and I don't understand why to this point, especially after the last two games. It doesn't make sense.
Defense. You don't know how to watch defense because you don't, like, you haven't studied like how to watch defense, on ball and off ball defense. You're a basketball fan. You're not like, you haven't sat with coaches and gone through like, this is the reason defensively that we have to keep this guy on the floor. Because what you have to do is,
but
okay,
I see offense, and I see one of
you see one half of the floor.
I agree with the stat that they put up here. 1 of 14 from the floor with 8 turnovers in the last 2 games. That's not good.
Offensively, he is struggling right now. I'm not arguing that.
No, but that's a liability. That's giving the team the other ball that many times that's where I have an issue.
It's only a liability if you're not carrying your weight on the other end. He is carrying his weight on the other end. He did a great job frustrating the point guard for BYU. He did a great job frustrating Asmus tonight. If
he was getting the steals and the blocks, I would agree with you. But he's not. He's
keeping them out of their rhythm. He's not giving them the ability. What is, I guess this is the easiest way for me to put it. Like, when you go back and what did we talk about, like with Dayton game, with the Xavier game to an extent, the first half of Evansville, guys were just getting to wherever they wanted on the floor with the ball. And that has not happened in these past 2 games, in large part because here's the other thing is, I think you're starting to see a synergy between Newman and Day, where they are playing off of each other defensively against the other team's 2 best perimeter options. In BYU, you got burned a little bit because Nell was actually their third best perimeter option.
Then call a timeout when they're going on a run, and then put in Day. Other than that, that's where I'm saying I want Jizzle to start, get the offense going, because I think this team comes out flat early on.
Coaches are always going to default to defense, Aaron. They are always.
To me, that's
always going to default to defense. And if he was doing, like, here's the thing, like, here's where it becomes like relevant. If he was doing a so-so job defensively, like if he was okay on Asmus for, the first half, then you're going to see Jizzle play more, because then they're both about the same on defense and Jizzle gives you more offense. But right now, and this could very well change if Jizzle continues to progress. When they become closer on defense, Jizzle will get more minutes, because the gap between them defensively right now is a canyon. Offensively, it's like this.
10 minutes is too much to me.
Okay. I also, tonight, I didn't like that you had 2 smoke, and I guess some of this also is because Newman was so good slowing down Hunter. I need to see them more together. We have talked about this for weeks. The way to get Jizzle's minutes up is to get them more time on the floor together. And I don't recall them playing at all tonight together.
No, there wasn't a time at all for that.
So that's, if you get a 3-4 minute segment with Jizzle on the floor with Day, and you're at 19 minutes for Jizzle and 25 minutes for Day, we're like, the conversation's different. And I don't know what it is, and that's something I'll have to dig into and talking to people in and around the program. Like, what is it about them playing together that hasn't clicked? Because we've seen it some, but instead of seeing it go from this and grow, we've seen it go from this and like vanish. And logic would have said tonight, with 2 smaller guards, 2 6'5", 5'11", 6-foot guards, it might have been a good time to see what it looked like with both of them on the floor together. We didn't see it at all. Yeah. And Day better be damn good on defense. He is. I'm telling you that. Like what he did on A. Smith tonight for the large majority of the game was very high level.
This was the lineup that I was baffled by tonight.
Yeah, I didn't like this one at all. I'm like, yeah, I think Carson, I think everybody collectively looked at that 5 and went.
So I brought up a point with George tonight, and I'm going to bring up the same point with you. I think Odie minutes early in the first half just need to not be a thing. I think if you're going to bring Odie in, you need to do it later in the first half or early in the second half. But I think they're wasted minutes early in the game at this point in time.
I don't know. Like if you're going to play him, I don't know that the end of the first half is the better option. Like if you play him and you give up a 6-0 spurt at the end of the first half, that's a lot worse than having it happen at the under 12, where you have some time to fight back. I love Odie. Like the guy has busted his ass, but right now he's not good enough to be in this. Like Josh Reed has
played his way in.
Odie.
He's played his way in.
Josh Reed has erased Odie, essentially. Josh had a couple defensive possessions tonight where if you watched him off the ball and the work that he did to get defensive stops.
Well, on the other side of the ball, the side that we probably have been most critical, he's been extremely selective, and it's paid off in dividends.
He's got a nice shot. He's taking good ones.
But I feel like earlier in the season, he was forcing some things up just because he was in the game. He's like, I need to get a shot up. But now he's doing it in rhythm as the offense comes to him, and the offense is moving the ball a little bit better than they probably were earlier in the season as well. But he's taking very just smart, disciplined shots. I like it.
Yeah, I mean, I think, Aaron, that comes down to a little like you're playing East Podunk State, and you check in and you get your chance to do something. So you're trying to squeeze it off as quick as you can get it off to prove. But now, take the wide open rhythm, boom, and he's taking smart looks, and he's being a very smart, conscientious defender where he understands time and space. He's not the most athletic guy, and they're not going to put him on, the dominant scorer from the other team, but he knows how to be in the right position. He knows how to be in the right place. And he's been really, really good at it. So kudos to him, man. A lot of guys, look, when Aziz, and I've said this a couple times, when Aziz and Jamil got cleared, it would have been very easy for Josh Reed to throw a fit and say, this isn't fair. Life sucks. It's not right that these guys, now I'm 11th on the bench. Now I'm the 11th guy. And pout. And he didn't pout. I'm going to get better. I'm going to find a way to earn that role. And he's earned it. And now he's looking like shit. He might be the 8th guy the way he's playing right now, because he hits open shots, he plays great defense, he rebounds, and he never burns you. He never costs, like you never like with Dan. How many times with Dan are we like, Dan, what the hell are you doing? How many times have we done that with Josh in the past 2 weeks?
I mean, if he started to eat into some of Dan's minutes, I would not actually be terribly upset at this point. But
Kevin says been very impressed with Reed's defense. Great rebounder. Feel like he's turning into Newman's successor. I don't disagree with that. I think John is kind of taking him under his wing.
Yeah, Newman being far more athletic, as we've seen.
But you can defend with your brain, like you can. Like, is it always going to work? No, because there's going to be guys that physically, like at some point, there's going to be guys that physically are just superior. But every team needs role players. Like that's the thing that I think is interesting about this team, Aaron. Who are the role players? Day and Jizzle are fighting for the same spot.
Yeah.
Seamoss, Dan.
Same with Jamil and Aziz. They're fighting for the same spot.
Jamil and Aziz. Yeah, like who are the glue guys? I know my role. I'm going to come in and do exactly what is asked of me. Like, who are those guys? That like the only one I really like. I do think Seamas, even though I think he's better than a role player, I think he is comfortable in his role. Again, he understands his role. The other one is John.
Yeah. And Josh Reed, probably a close third.
No, I'm saying Josh is probably second.
You said, okay.
Okay. Josh is.
You said Seamas and John. You said John.
Oh, Josh. Sorry. It's
right.
late. Can I talk about Rayvon's energy on the bench supporting the team? It's awesome. Ray's a great kid. Ray's about the right things. Like, he's excited to see the team doing well. I don't know what else you want me to say. Like, he's not a shithead.
Same with CJ Anthony, same with Sage. Sage expecting to get minutes this year as he can't redshirt this year. But he's one of the first off the bench as well. So get it.
Aaron, can you ban Norbeck BC, please?
Look, I allowed your girl Chelsea to get away with spelling my name wrong because she thinks it's funny. So
she spells it ERIN, doesn't she?
Yeah.
That's the Bishop thing is a running joke from the message board. Look, I will not accept Rashad Bishop slander or thinking wrong about Rashad Bishop's game. That's a dude that for 4 years was asked to go defend the best player on the other team in the Big East every night, and he did it at an insanely high level. You're going to die on this, and I'm going to stab you. That's why you're going to die on that, Norbeck. You're going to die on it because I'm going to stab you. And look, as a guy that has been known to rip a heater or two in my time, the fact that Rashad would go outside the arena and rip a cool 5 or 10 minutes before every game, it's my God. I love Capo. We're just having fun, guys. It's a message board joke that has been going on for over a decade. There will be no Rashad Bishop slander on my watch. I will come running.
Interesting little stat tonight. The last time the Bearcats debuted Jordan red jerseys was January 4th, 2006. Also the very first time as they hosted a Big East home game. I called this last night, having zero knowledge, but
they wore the red in their Big East opener in beginning of 2006. They wore the red in their Big East opener tonight.
Didn't know that, but just a fun little thing, and I always like being right. So
Keegan, shut up. Nobody asked you. Seamas.
I left that one alone.
Seamas stepping into the role that I think he is best suited for with the ball in his hands at the end of the game. Just an incredible dribbled back down, turnaround jumper that you hoped was the game winner. Didn't end up being the game winner, but you hoped was going to be the difference in the game. He was
those little like 10, 12 footer jumpers. I know that we've already discussed him, but between Seamas and Jizzle, I think they're the best two at shooting them on the team.
Yeah. 14 points in the second half for Seamas. 5 of 8 from the floor, 2 of 5 from 3. Hit both of his free throws. He is. I just think he's best suited for the closer role on this team right now. Like if you like a year from now, if you ask me, I think Jizzle is going to be the guy that's best suited for the closer role. But Seamas has Kevin. You're right. He's got that old man game that he's just calm. He doesn't get sped up. He doesn't rush. He doesn't make a lot of mistakes other than trying to throw lobs when he probably he sees something that in this league maybe isn't there. But it's good for me to see him starting to establish himself as late in the game. Give me the ball, give me a ball screen, or give me a deny situation, and I'm going to play downhill. I can shoot the three. I can get to the mid-range. I can score at all 3 levels. I'm encouraged by what I saw from him tonight.
He's got a short memory. He had 1-3 where he shot it. He shot a 1-3 that was terribly off balanced. Turned around, and I think it was either the same, like they either rebounded it or his very next possession where he came down and hit a 3 right after that. But he was set on that next one. But he isn't discouraged by missing shots.
This is from Twitter, Aaron. Chad, can you mute Aaron when he gets hell-bent on ignoring the defensive side of the ball with Day-Day and Jizzle? This is the exact same thing as every other nightcap. I'll try.
Who's that from?
Zog City. Whoever that Zog City.
You have the mute option on YouTube yourself, Zog.
Just mute you when he sees you talking, like it's on him.
That's fine.
Keep watching for when Chad talks. If you see Aaron's mouth moving, hit mute and then wait. And then
it's not how conversations work.
Keegan, hi Keegan, says looks like he plays without a heartbeat. No business taking that fadeaway late. Yeah, I mean, that's how Eastern Europeans play. They don't have a conscience. They just
or maybe he is playing without a heartbeat. He just got hit by a car. He's a ghost.
Might be that. I mean, yeah, he might be. He's a pretty good ghost. But all right, I don't want to. At the very end, they ran Vic and CMOS in the pick and roll very successfully. I think that's the go-to. I agree, because Vic can hurt you with the pop, he can hurt you with the roll, and CMOS playing off the ball screen is really, really good. So
I think it's interesting that Aziz and Vic were the two bigs that had the most success against BYU. Tonight, you see that coming from Vic and Jamil.
Yeah. Guess what? Having options is nice, Aaron. It's like you're not all of a sudden you can try something else. If one thing's not working, hey, we got another 7-footer over here. The play's completely different. We can bring him in and try something else.
I guess you could have made that argument for Hayden Koval and Abdul Adu, but
well, never mind. I love both of those guys. So
I know. I don't know. I agree that this was the comment that got me thinking that we probably could have fed Jamil more, and George was beating that drum on George in the Jungle. So
I agree. He looked really good tonight. Now, what happens is this is the first time he's looked really comfortable in the post. Mm-hmm. So hopefully now the team feels a little bit more comfortable with throwing it in there, because he hasn't been comfortable yet. There have been travels and turnovers, and
make sure it's not one of those stupid lobs where he's out here and you're lazily lobbing it, because those are turnovers right now.
So here's the thing.
You got to make good passes.
They've got to get air on that.
Yeah.
To where it gets over. That's the problem, because it's the right play, because teams are going to front him. If he shows what he showed tonight,
then you need to practice passing him the ball.
Let me finish my point. If he shows what he shows tonight, where he can get it pretty much anywhere within 10, 12 feet, get to where he wants, and hit that little righty hook or dunk on you, then guess what they're going to do, Aaron? They're going to front it to deny that easy entry pass. Well, then you have to be able to throw it over the top to him with the guy on his hip and the basket right there. It worked once when they got enough height on the ball. He caught it and almost ripped the rim off the backboard. Yeah. It didn't work when they're throwing line drives into Big 12 defenders. Like, the guy that's fronting him is going to be able to stick his hand up. You got to get it over that. Like, there were too many times tonight, like 2 or 3, where instead of getting a little loft on it,
and I think it was
a line drive.
I think it was CMOS who made that pass.
Well, no, CMOS made a bad alley-oop throw.
Okay.
CMOS didn't read the back safety on that play. And the safety drove down on the pass and made the interception. That's what it looked like, though. Like, Disu was standing on the other side of the rim, but he just read Seamoss's eyes. And as soon as Seamoss let it go, he threw a really good lob, technically. It was right there on the side of the rim for Jamil to come and dunk it. But the backside safety came over and made the pick. I'm talking more about the high-low stuff, Aaron, where Jamil's got position, but there's a guy trying to keep the ball from being entered, at the front, where you've got to get just a little bit of arch on it so that he can catch it like this and go to the rim like that instead of, you throw it a little too flat. I think Newman had the worst one that I can remember where he just threw a line drive and the guy just stuck his hand up and.
Well, you're able to see angles a little bit better than I am on the broadcast. So.
Sure. Yeah. But there are issues with that they have to correct. For sure. And I'm with George a little bit on maybe a few less lobs like that. That doesn't work in the Big 12. Like, I agree. Let's take that shit out of like their headspace.
When it's open in there,
you're going to be able to throw a ball from 18 feet to the opposite side of the rim, and a Big 12 defense isn't going to be able to make a play on it. They're going to every time. I think you're right, Thrifty. Vic throws the best entry pass on the team. I think Seamoss is right there. I think Jizzle throws a pretty good entry pass, actually, more often than not. But these are a little, what we're talking about is a little different than like a basic entry pass. This is like a 304 level entry passes that they were screwed up a little bit tonight. Too many careless turnovers from the veterans on this team. Yeah, they came into the BYU game as one of the better teams protecting the ball in the country. You have 19 turnovers against BYU and 15 against Texas. And those aren't really two teams that like overly pressure you. You got to get better. You got to get better.
Yep.
All right. You got anything else?
Baylor, they won tonight, so we're not going to be facing a team that lost to BYU that is trying to avenge their loss. So that's a good thing.
Yeah, I did not want to see BYU beat Baylor. I wanted to see, here's what I did want to see, and I did see this. That game was tight until there was 3 minutes left. Baylor was right there with BYU in that game. That tells me Cincinnati plays well. They got a chance to be right there with Baylor to the end of that game.
Transitive property for sure.
Yeah. Now it's weird. BYU, they only took 24 threes in that game.
They were tired of shooting threes after.
Well, I mean, I'm sure it was but here's why it's interesting to me, Aaron. They had a shit ton of success attacking the rim or scoring in and around the Baylor defense. Baylor's elite offensively. Elite. And last I checked, they were number 3 in the country offensively. They're in the 60s, 70s defense. And BYU shot 49% from the floor tonight.
Well, we'll get into that more on Thursday, as that's the Thursday show.
Sure. Just a brief mention. Like, it's worth keeping an eye on. The team you just played against the team you're about to play.
Well, you're going to preview them. You're going to preview them tomorrow with Dave.
I know.
And then we'll review and preview on Thursday.
Yes.
Plenty of stuff.
Thrifty Walrus said, I think it's unfair Texas didn't sit their hottest player for 8 minutes in the second half. I thought that was mandatory after BYU. They did sit him from the under 12 through the under 8 and then brought him back in shortly after that. Then Disu didn't leave the floor after that. But Baylor only 5 turnovers tonight. Yeah, their offense is really good, guys. Their defense, you can make some hay. So that's going to wrap it up. Thanks to Aaron for going live. I know he's now been live for a couple hours tonight, but I appreciate you all being here. for the therapy session. Hope you feel a little better. Look, all I can say is they played 2 Big 12 basketball games, and they sure as hell look like a Big 12 basketball team. We'll see what that means Saturday night. That's the nightcap. We'll see you tomorrow for the BCJ podcast and everything else the rest of the week. Brought to you by Galactic Fried Chicken, right here on BearcatJournal.com.
See ya.